Counselor, you sent a memo directing one of your underlings, I don't mean that in a pejorative sense, but somebody under you in the hierarchy, directing that the prosecution against Mayor Adams be dismissed. Is that right?
Yes, Senator.
Okay. Who made that decision to dismiss the charges?
I think that's set forth in the memo that I participated in the decision with the authorization of the Attorney General of the United States.
Okay, so the Attorney General of the United States made the call.
She was a part of the decision, yes, Senator.
Who else was involved?
Beyond what's in the public record on that matter, I'm not able to get into the internal deliberations on that, Senator.
Okay, but there were others involved
Yes.
at the department?
Yes.
Anywhere else?
Patriots, buckle up, because what we just heard in that Senate hearing should set off alarms for every American who still believes in blind justice, in the rule of law, and in the idea that our Justice Department should serve the people, not political power brokers. Today, I'm going to break down exactly what happened when Mr. Beau, yes, that's what they called him, testified about how he and the Attorney General decided to dismiss criminal charges against New York City's Mayor Adams. And you better believe the more you listen, the more you'll realize just how far our institutions have drifted from the values this country was founded upon. Let's start with the basics. Mr. Beau worked at the Justice Department for years. He claims he never personally saw any of his colleagues act purely out of political motives. Oh sure, except when he was representing President Trump. That's when he finally noticed that prosecutions could be, let's use his word, weaponized. Funny, isn't it? Because if you ask conservatives, the Justice Department has been weaponized for years against anyone who challenges the DC establishment. Here's what should trouble you the most. Mr. Beau admitted, without much hesitation, that he and the Attorney General got together and decided to kill the case against Mayor Adams because they were worried the prosecution would damage his ability to govern and to campaign. Let me ask you this. Since when is it the Justice Department's job to protect politicians from the consequences of their own alleged crimes, especially in the middle of an election? Since when is the law supposed to bend over backward for a sitting mayor because it's inconvenient for him to face charges during a campaign? I'll tell you when. It's when politics infects the justice system from the inside out. They use the phrase weaponization of the criminal justice system. And the irony here is so thick you could choke on it. Because that is exactly what the American people have watched happening under this administration. Prosecutions and investigations tailored to harass, discredit, and destroy their political opponents.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Beauvais, I'm looking at your resume. It's Beauvais, right?
Beauvais, Senator, like with a
Beauvais,
long
I
E.
apologize, sir.
No worries, thank you.
Mr. Beauvais, you spent a lot of time at the Justice Department. I look here. You were a paralegal there for 2 years in the early 2000s. You served from 2012 to 2021. How many times have you seen a Justice Department employee act on the basis of his or her, act predominantly on the basis of his or her political beliefs as opposed to the law?
Senator, I would say that as a prosecutor in my time at SDNY, I'm not sure that I did see that. It should be and it must be.
Have you seen it other than as a prosecutor?
I believe that I have.
Okay. When?
During my representation of President Trump.
What'd you see?
I witnessed members of the special counsel's office taking positions about the need to go to trial quickly before the election, the amount of time that President Trump would be allotted to review discovery and prepare motions, that I've found in my experience to be completely inconsistent with normal practice, which led me to draw inferences of the nature that you're suggesting, Senator.
Counselor, You sent a memo directing one of your underlings, I don't mean that in a pejorative sense, but somebody under you in the hierarchy, directing that the prosecution against Mayor Adams be dismissed. Is that right?
Yes, Senator.
Okay. Who made that decision to dismiss the charges?
I think that's set forth in the memo that I participated in the decision with the authorization of the Attorney General of the United States.
Okay, so the Attorney General of the United States made the call.
She was a part of the decision, yes, Senator.
Who else was involved?
Beyond what's in the public record on that matter, I'm not able to get into the internal deliberations on that, Senator.
Okay, but there were others involved
Yes.
at the department?
Yes.
Anywhere else?
No.
Okay. You're under oath. Why did you folks dismiss the charges against Mayor Adams?
For the reasons set forth in the motion that you're referencing, there were two concerns, Senator. One was based on the weaponization of the criminal justice system, and that concern was substantiated.
What do you mean weaponization of the political justice system?
Abuse.
I know that, but I mean, can you be more specific?
In this particular case,
You think the charges were brought against Mayor Adams for political reasons?
again, I'm just right now drawing on what we said publicly in the briefs, and I signed those briefs because I believe in the arguments that were made. I believe that irrespective of what happened at the outset of that case, what the former U.S. attorney did to promote the ongoing prosecution at a time when there was at least an appearance that he had his own personal political objectives resulted in the weaponization of that particular criminal justice process.
Okay. So you dismissed it because of the weaponization. Any other reason?
Yes, there was a second independent basis set forth in the motion, and that was concerns about the effect of the ongoing prosecution on Mayor Adams' ability to govern and protect the public in New York City, and also to campaign in the ongoing mayoral election.
Okay. Do you believe in a higher being?
It's a very personal question, Senator, but I do.
I want you to look me in the eye and swear to your higher being when you answer this question. Did you make a deal, a political deal, to dismiss the charges against Mayor Adams?
Absolutely not.
Did anybody else that you witnessed make a political deal to dismiss the charges?
Absolutely not.
You swear to your higher being?
I swear to my higher being and on every bone in my body.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Klobuchar.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Bove, I was just listening to
Mr. Bo testified that the previous U.S. attorney might have had his own political objectives. But what about the current leadership? Are we honestly supposed to believe that dismissing a high-profile criminal case right before an election is just about fairness? And let's not forget this moment. The senator, God bless him, looked Mr. Bo right in the eye and said, "Swear to your higher being you didn't cut a political deal." And like every good bureaucrat, Mr. Bo puffed up his chest and said, "I swear to my higher being and every bone in my body." I'm sorry folks, but I'm not buying it. Because every time we see this song and dance, powerful politicians and unelected bureaucrats insisting they'd never use their office for politics, it always ends up being exposed as a lie later. Remember what they did to General Flynn? Remember what they did with RussiaGate? Remember how they turned the FBI into a political cudgel against President Trump? This isn't conspiracy theory, it's documented. And it's happening again in broad daylight. If you still think the Justice Department works for you, let this be your wake-up call. This transcript makes it crystal clear. There are two systems of justice in this country. One for regular Americans, where you will be prosecuted, investigated, bankrupted over the tiniest infraction. And one for the ruling class who get their cases quietly dismissed because it's too disruptive to their campaign. Let's be real. If Mayor Adams were a Republican, do you think Mr. Bo and the Attorney General would have rushed to dismiss the case to protect his campaign? Do you think they'd have worried about how the charges might interfere with his ability to govern? No chance. He'd have been frog-marched in front of cameras and destroyed in the media within 24 hours. This is why so many Americans have lost faith. Because justice isn't supposed to be about who you are, or what party you belong to. It's supposed to be about what you did. And if this country has any hope of surviving as a constitutional republic, we have to demand accountability from these unelected bureaucrats who think they can play kingmakers behind closed doors. So here's my message to you. Stay awake. Stay informed. And don't let anyone gaslight you into believing this is normal. It is not normal. It is a disgrace. And it is everything our founders warned us about. A government so powerful, so arrogant, that it no longer even tries to pretend it applies the law fairly. If you agree, if you believe in the Constitution, if you still think that the law should apply to everyone equally, then make your voice heard. Share this video. Call your representatives. Because we are running out of time to save this republic from the rot of political corruption. God bless you and God bless the United States of America.